talking to Rick Henry out there, and I said our guys look pretty good in their uniforms compared to 9-10 years ago. But that's true all over the country. Players are getting bigger, stronger, faster all over the country with nutrition, the off-season workout programs, all of that. Just bigger, faster, stronger teams everywhere. Hopefully our guys will play like that as we go into the season. But as I said earlier, the summer, Joe Connolly and his strength staff have done a super job. I really believe our guys are in tip-top shape and ready for the long season, and we try to improve our conditioning as the season goes along also. We got good leadership, we think. I was noticing out there we got a really good mixture between the older players and younger players. I think we had about 15 or 18 fourth or fifth year players, and then of course the freshmen, several of those players will play a lot also. So we got a good mix. I think we got excellent leadership again from the older players, and we're ready to see whatever we can do this year. Sort of interesting, number 9, we picked number 9, which I don't know, somebody wrote it way back. We'd be about number 9, and that's where we were picked in the first poll. So obviously we know we got a chance. The media boards picked us to win the East. 2010 we weren't picked that year, were we? Is this first time? Second time. Okay. Yeah, I think we were picked another year and fell a little bit short, like we have the last 3 years. But certainly that's our goal. Our goal is to win the East, and if we're fortunate enough to do that, our goal will be to win the SEC. But other than that, we go one game at a time, and we'll just be talking about Texas A&M pretty much until that one's over. And then after that, East Carolina, Georgia, and on down the line, and so forth. But I really think these players all like each other. The effort last night in our conditioning drills after practice was some of the best that I've seen around here. Nobody standing on the sideline, nobody was hurt, nobody was pouting. Everybody was just going full go. It was sort of fun to watch. So, whatever that means, I don't know, except that we'll start finding out August the 28th. Okay, any questions? Whatever's comfortable. I'm not a big stickler on the way we throw it. Pretty close to stickler on holding the ball in 2 hands and stepping and throwing and all that kind of stuff. But I think the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator guy on every team should be coaching his quarterbacks and not those guys. But those guys seem to be helpful, I guess, and high school kids, college kids are all going to them. So if it helps them, that's fine. But I used to just think that's what I do, is coach those quarterbacks, right, Rick? So, and G.A. Mangus does a super job coaching them too, so we feel like we got plenty of coaches around here.
Hey, Dan Wolken from USA Today, Coach. Reflecting a little bit on your 10th year, this is now 2 10-year runs at 2 different schools. What does that mean to you? And also, you know, unless you're planning on leaving anytime soon, you're going to coach more games here than you did at Florida. Would you have ever?
Well, possibly. We don't know the future.
Well,
we always know the future. Hopefully.
Would you have ever thought that that was possible when you started here?
Well, yeah, I thought it was possible to do 8 to 10. Yeah, I did, certainly. And I told everybody that's what I wanted to do. And I sort of told everybody I'm not here for 2 or 3 years, and try to find one of those jobs that maybe has more advantages than this one used to have. Now this one has the advantages. It's clear now with the facility upgrades and our track record, we've turned into a school with some advantages. And it started, I think, with the boosters. Eric Hyman finding the boosters and giving the money to build our facilities to a level as good as anybody. And then now we got to go recruit best players in our state. Stephon Gilmore, and Lattimore, Clowney, Alshon Jeffrey, and all those guys. So it's been it took a few years to sort of get where we are. But that doesn't mean we've got it made, that's for sure. We could fall flat on our face this year if we don't watch it. But I really think this is a team that will prepare to play the best they can each year. So I do think we're a school with advantages now. We graduate our players, they stay out of trouble, and we win. That's what we all try to do, and we send them to the NFL. So we have a track record for all that.
speak, after 2 practices, have you been able to identify some of the freshmen that definitely can help you out this
Yeah,
season?
both of those two freshman DBs, it didn't take them long, Chris Lamont and Wesley Green, to show that they could play. Al Harris Jr., another freshman. Those three are out there, and they're competing at a high level with all the other players. I looked up there last night, I think one of them's already on first team defense. So, and then clear Bryson Williams to get back at safety. Certainly those players, this freshman, can help us. This Debo Samuels is going to really be a good player. Shaq Davidson is injured a little bit right now, but he's close to being back. Other than that, we'll sort of let all the guys earn their way as they go. I don't know, maybe they need to knock some guys backwards every now and then and dominate the line of scrimmage. But we have a lot of big, strong guys. I really think A.J. Cann's going to have his best year. He's in the best shape of his life. He's been pulling last couple of practices quicker than he ever has. So maybe that's how they rate them, how they get up in there and make blocks and so forth. But certainly we believe we have a very good offensive line, and now we got to go play like it. Our centers have got to snap the ball a lot better than they have lately. They've been throwing it all over the place. And I had to remind them last night, I said, now Connor Shaw used to catch that one. That was way over here and down low. I said, the guys we got now may not be able to catch that one. So how about trying to put it right around his waist there where he's got a chance at it. But you don't realize how good Connor was sometimes, catching everything all over the place. And then running with it, making third down, fourth down conversions. It was, when you go back and watch our tape sometimes, you say, man, how did we do that? And how did this play happen? So many fourth downs, kept drives alive to score touchdowns to win a bunch of games. So we need to snap the ball a lot better, but we're working on it. We got some time to get that straight.
Starting to see more advanced statistics like you've seen in baseball for the last few years come into football. Are there any numbers for you as an offensive coach that are key, whether it's we need to average such and such on first down, or we need to stay out of this, or statistically, is there anything you look at?
No, not really. Obviously, as a coach, I've changed a little bit. We used to come out and throw it all over the place and try to get ahead and then run the clock out. And now we try to mix it up from the get-go. We try to protect our defense a little bit. It was interesting, that Wisconsin game, the last one we played, at the end of 3 quarters, both teams had about 6 possessions, and that was it, 6 possessions. And they ran the ball pretty well against us. I don't know if you know that. They had close to 300 yards. But we stopped them when we had to, and got some turnovers when we needed to. And the possessions and all that, you know, it protects your defense a little bit. And obviously when we play Clemson, we hope they only have about 60 plays, which we've been fortunate to do. So statistics, now the biggest one, of course, is who wins the game. And there's all kind of ways to do it. You can try to outscore them, or you can try to fundamentally make every possession count and use some time as you go, and so forth. But I don't know, you know, it used to be the team that run the ball the best usually wins. Well, that didn't happen in the bowl game against Wisconsin. They ran for more yards than we did. But usually it's, I don't know who makes the most plays. Could be a defensive play, could be a Sky Moore interception in the end zone like we did against those guys. Huge play in the game. So just making plays. The team that plays the best usually wins, not necessarily who gained the most yards or all this, that, and the other.
South Carolina just reported 22 minor violations to the NCAA. One of them was for impermissible icing on a cookie cake, and I was just wondering your thoughts on the NCAA cracking down on icing on cakes.
Well, we turn ourselves in for everything, and it was interesting. I read where somebody thought we had a whole bunch of violations. We were not accused of being guilty of extra benefits and the housing at the Whitney. We admitted that maybe it wasn't right and docked ourselves some scholarships, as you know. But the infraction committee never said we were guilty of any of that stuff. and they just accepted our reduced scholarships. So anyway, just to clear up that little situation. Yeah, they're loosening up the rules on that now, the extra food, meals, and so forth. And yeah, they're allowing us to feed our players really about all we want. And the walk-on players get to eat everything too. They get to come to the Doty and eat, I think, throughout the year. So that's good. We got an excellent group of walk-on players, really do. They really contribute.
I'm thinking specifically of running backs, but does the brutality of the game, how much has it changed since you played and since you started coaching, just in terms of physical, how hard these guys hit each other?
I think the game's a lot safer. And the new rules, I 100% agree with. Helmet to helmet. When J.J. Marcus hit that kid in Tennessee, and the ref came over and said, Coach, he hit him head to head. And they showed the replay, and I said, you're right, he hit him head to head. He's out. He's out of the game. And no question. And so that's helped. That rule has helped. And our players have learned you don't have to hit him in the head. And hopefully we don't get hit in the head. So that has helped. And, you know, the below-the-waist blocking and all that kind of stuff and protecting the quarterbacks. The game is a lot safer than it used to be. Gosh, back when I played, they allowed the rushers to hit the quarterback within 1 Mississippi, I think they used to say. After 1 Mississippi, you can't hit him. I don't know what the rule was, but they very seldom ever called roughing the passer back when I played. But anyway, they do call it now, and they protect the guys. So I really believe it is a lot safer game. Now, players are bigger, stronger, and faster, and they're running into each other harder. But if they do it sort of in a safe way, I think it's okay. What's happening, we're trying to eliminate low blows now. And they put a new rule this year that you can't hit the quarterback below the knees. We had a defensive back, Tennessee, hit our Connor Shaw below the knees a few years ago in a game. But unfortunately, he got his foot out of the ground, or else it could have been a severe injury. So they've got that new rule going in this year. You can't hit the quarterback below the knees.
Steve, I know you don't like you guys on Twitter or social media during the year. How about with recruits? That Penn State assistant said the other day that they've actually, stopped looking at recruits from some of the things they see on Twitter that they post. I mean, have you ever had a situation like that where you've seen somebody you were looking at and didn't like what they said on social media?
Well, you probably need to ask our assistant coaches. They do all of that, keep up with it and so forth. We allow our players to use it as long as they're smart, and obviously we can check it. We got a guy that checks it all the time. So if they get out of line, we can stop it. So we've gone back and forth, and right now we used to collect cell phones the night before the game, and then some guys would bring in 2. All right, take this one, and he goes home. So you gotta hope that they're conscious and preparation and all that kind of stuff to play the best they can kicks in. So we give them a lot of trust on those areas.
Steve, you mentioned the walk-ons. Do you have any guys who might be able to grab an extra scholarship? Have you decided on that yet?
Probably the guy leading the pack right now would be Carlton Hurd. Carlton Hurd in the summer graded out, right there with Dylan and A.J. Can and all those guys. He had an excellent summer, did everything coaches asked, plus a little bit more. And there's several other players that are doing well too. But Carlton's been here for a year, so he's going into his 2nd year. He's probably the top guy right now.